Guards' Ice-Cold Response Shocks Prankster. What happened next? Jake, a fearless 22-year-old, charges toward Buckingham Palace, eyes blazing with a reckless dream to break a royal guard's legendary poker face. Armed with wild bear roars, ear-splitting jet engine howls, and absurd dance moves, he's betting on viral glory. Emma, 19, grips her phone, heart pounding with a mix of thrill and dread, capturing every second. The crowd erupts, their phones flashing like paparazzi, as Jake taunts Michael, a 25-year-old guard carved from steel. But then, silence. Michael spins 45 degrees, his boots snapping on the cobblestones, and with a voice like ice, he commands, "Step back! You're interfering with military duty." The crowd freezes. Laughter dies.
Royal police surge from 50 yards away, and Jake's stunt spirals into chaos. Was this the end? Far from it. The internet explodes, hailing Michael's icy resolve as a masterclass in power, while Emma's cheeky caption, "He cracked LOL," ignites a storm. What flipped the script? Why did Emma confess her mistake?
Hit play to unravel the shocking twist and a lesson that shook the world. Drop your city in the comments, subscribe, and brace for tomorrow's jaw-dropping tale. Jake, a spirited 22-year-old with a knack for adventure, gathered his friends in a bustling corner of their hometown, buzzing with excitement for a bold new plan. They were headed to Buckingham Palace, the iconic heart of London, to film a prank video that would, in Jake's words, go viral or go home. The idea was simple yet audacious. Make one of those famously stoic royal guards crack a smile, maybe even a laugh, right on camera. The group huddled under a street lamp, their faces lit with mischief, as Jake laid out the strategy with the confidence of a seasoned showman. They'd use every trick in the book, growling like bears, mimicking the roar of an airplane engine, and even throwing in some goofy dance moves around the guard. The goal was to break through that legendary British discipline, and Jake was certain they'd capture comedy gold. Emma, 19, was the group's designated videographer, her phone ready to record every second of the antics. She felt a twinge of unease, her brow furrowing as Jake described their plan to get up close and personal with the guard. "Isn't this a bit disrespectful?" she asked, her voice soft but tinged with worry. Jake waved off her concerns with a grin, insisting it was all in good fun. "They're trained for this, Emma. They're like statues. Nothing phases them," he said, his enthusiasm infectious. The others nodded, caught up in the thrill, though Emma's hesitation lingered like a quiet shadow. To prepare, the group spent the afternoon perfecting their act. In a nearby park, they took turns practicing their bear growls, each one louder and more exaggerated than the last. Jake's impression of a jet engine had them doubled over with laughter, the sound echoing across the grass. They even choreographed a ridiculous dance routine, think wild spins and exaggerated hops, designed to fluster the guard without crossing any serious lines. "We're not touching him, just having fun," Jake declared, clapping his hands. The group's energy was electric, fueled by the thought of millions watching their video online. Emma, despite her reservations, couldn't help but get swept up in the planning. She adjusted her phone's settings, ensuring the footage would be crisp under London's unpredictable sky. "If we're doing this, it's gotta look good," she muttered, half to herself. The others cheered her on, tossing around ideas for catchy video titles and hashtags. Jake, ever the ringleader, envisioned the guard's stone-faced reaction going viral, maybe even sparking a trend. "Imagine people everywhere trying to crack these guards," he said, eyes gleaming. As they boarded the plane to London, Jake's excitement was palpable, his voice loud enough to turn heads in the airport. Emma, clutching her phone, felt a mix of nerves and curiosity. Would the guard ignore them? Glare.
Or dare they hope? Smile. With their plans set and spirits high, they were ready to take on Buckingham Palace, unaware that their prank would soon collide with a lesson in
Discipline they'd never forget. As Jake and his crew stepped onto the cobblestone paths near Buckingham Palace, the thrill from their planning session still pulsed through them, a vibrant echo of their mischievous preparations. The iconic red-coated guards stood like statues under the London sky, and Jake, now 22 and brimming with audacity, zeroed in on Michael, a 25-year-old guard whose stoic posture seemed to dare them to try. The group exchanged glances, their earlier bear growls and airplane noises now ready to be unleashed. Emma, 19, steadied her phone, her unease from the park rehearsal lingering but overshadowed by the electric anticipation. This was it, the moment they'd been plotting for, and Jake was determined to make it unforgettable. With the palace's grandeur looming behind, Jake sauntered forward, his confidence bordering on recklessness. He leaned in, just a foot from Michael's face, and let out a theatrical bear growl, deep and guttural, that drew gasps from the gathering crowd. Undeterred by Michael's unwavering gaze, Jake switched tactics, mimicking the screech of a jet engine, his voice piercing the air. He hopped side to side, throwing in exaggerated dance moves, wild spins and goofy arm waves, hoping to crack the guard's ironclad composure. The crowd, now swelling to dozens, erupted in laughter, their phones raised like a sea of lenses capturing every second. Tourists whispered, chuckled, and nudged each other, feeding off Jake's boldness. Emma, behind her camera, felt her cheeks flush, torn between the hilarity and a nagging sense that they were crossing an invisible line. Yet Michael stood resolute, his eyes locked forward, his body rigid as if carved from stone. Not a twitch, not a blink. His discipline was a silent rebuke to Jake's antics. The logic of the scene was clear. Jake's chaotic energy clashed with Michael's unyielding duty, a contrast as stark as the palace's shadow against the midday sun. While Jake's performance thrived on spectacle, Michael's stillness spoke of a deeper strength, one forged in training and tradition. The crowd's laughter only amplified this tension, their amusement unwittingly fueling Jake's escalation. He leaned closer, his voice rising, now mimicking a cartoonish siren. The crowd roared louder, some cheering, others filming with gleeful abandon, unaware that their noise was turning the prank into a public spectacle. Emma's lens captured it all, the growing chaos, the crowd's frenzy, and Michael's immovable presence. Her unease deepened. She sensed the situation teetering on the edge of control. Jake's plan, so foolproof in the park, now felt reckless in this sacred space. The thrill was undeniable, but so was the risk. As Jake pushed further, oblivious to the shifting mood, the stage was set for an unexpected turn. Michael's silence wasn't surrender. It was a calm before the storm, a testament to the discipline Jake had underestimated. The crowd's laughter would soon fade, replaced by a lesson none of them saw coming. The air around Buckingham Palace crackled with tension as Jake's antics, a whirlwind of bear growls and siren wails, pushed the boundaries of his prank to the edge. The crowd's laughter, once a chorus of delight, began to feel like a pressure cooker, amplifying the audacity of his performance.
Michael, the 25-year-old guard, stood as an unshakable pillar amidst the chaos, his eyes fixed forward, his body a monument to discipline. Emma, her phone trembling slightly in her hands, sensed the shift, a subtle tightening in the atmosphere, like the moment before a storm breaks. Jake, oblivious, leaned closer, his voice louder, his gestures wilder, chasing the viral moment he'd dreamed of.
But the stage he'd set was about to turn, and Michael's silence was no longer just restraint. It was a coiled spring, ready to snap. Then, in a heartbeat, the scene flipped. Michael, without warning, pivoted precisely 45 degrees, his polished boots clicking on the pavement as he stepped forward 3 feet toward Jake. The crowd's laughter faltered, replaced by gasps. This wasn't the reaction Jake had hoped for. No smile, no crack in the guard's armor. Instead, Michael's movement was deliberate, controlled, a masterclass in authority. His face remained a mask of calm, but his eyes locked onto Jake with a piercing intensity. In a voice low yet sharp as a blade, he spoke, "Step back. You're interfering with military duty." Each word was measured, carved with precision, carrying the weight of centuries-old tradition. The crowd froze, their phones still raised but now capturing something far more profound than a prank. The logic of Michael's response was undeniable. Jake's reckless pursuit of attention had collided with the sacred duty of a guard, a role steeped in honor and unwavering focus. Where Jake sought chaos, Michael embodied order, his single step a calculated assertion of control. This wasn't anger. It was power, restrained yet palpable, a reminder that true strength doesn't need volume to command respect. The crowd's silence underscored this, their earlier amusement now a distant memory. Emma's camera caught every detail. The subtle shift in Michael's posture, the way his words hung in the air, chilling yet composed. She felt a shiver, realizing they'd underestimated the man they'd mocked as a statue. Jake, caught off guard, stumbled back, his bravado crumbling under Michael's steady gaze. The moment was electric, a clash of youthful impulsiveness against disciplined resolve. Michael's action wasn't just a reaction. It was a statement, a line drawn in the sand that Jake had crossed. The crowd, now hushed, sensed the gravity, their phones still rolling as the scene teetered on the brink of consequence. Emma's heart raced. She knew this was no longer just a prank video. Something bigger was unfolding, a lesson in respect, duty, and the power of quiet authority that would soon ripple far beyond the palace gates. The echo of Michael's steely command, "Step back. You're interfering with military duty," still hung in the air, a chilling pivot from the raucous laughter that had fueled Jake's prank. The crowd, once roaring with amusement, now stood in stunned silence, their phones capturing the weight of the moment as Michael's piercing gaze held Jake frozen. The 25-year-old guard's single step forward, a mere 3 feet, had shifted the entire scene, transforming a juvenile stunt into a confrontation with authority. Emma, her hands shaky behind the camera, felt the gravity of their miscalculation. Jake's bravado, so bold moments ago, withered under the guard's disciplined resolve. But the story was far from over. The consequences were about to unfold in a way no one had anticipated. From the edge of the crowd, about 50 yards away, a pair of royal police officers emerged, their uniforms crisp and their steps purposeful. Michael's subtle gesture, a slight tilt of his head, had summoned them, a silent signal that spoke volumes about his authority. The officers moved swiftly, weaving through the onlookers, their eyes locked on Jake. The logic was clear. Jake's reckless antics had violated the sanctity of a military ceremony, a space where tradition and duty reigned supreme. His pursuit of viral fame had crossed a line, and Michael's calm intervention had set the stage for justice. The crowd parted, their phones now recording a different kind of spectacle. Not a prank, but a reckoning. Jake, his face paling, stammered as the officers approached, their boots clicking ominously on the cobblestones. "It was just a joke," he protested, but the officers were unmoved. They flanked him, their voices firm but calm, informing him he was being detained for causing a disturbance in a ceremonial area. The crowd murmured, some shocked, others nodding in approval, recognizing that Jake's actions had consequences. Emma's camera captured the moment. Jake's wide-eyed panic, the officer's measured efficiency, and Michael resuming his post, unfazed, as if nothing had happened. The contrast was stark. Jake's chaos had met the immovable force of protocol. Emma, rattled but still filming, uploaded the clip to their channel with a hasty caption. "He finally cracked LOL." She thought it would spark laughs, maybe boost their views. But as Jake was escorted away, hands cuffed lightly behind his back, she felt a pang of guilt. The video, meant to be a light-hearted prank, now documented a misstep, a clash between youthful impulsiveness and the weight of duty. Michael's response hadn't been a breakdown, as her caption suggested, but a masterclass in control. The crowd dispersed, whispering about the guard's composure, unaware that this moment would soon ignite a firestorm online. Emma's caption, so flippant in the heat of the moment, was about to be challenged by a wave of public reaction that would redefine the narrative. As Jake was led away by the royal police, the weight of his misadventure settled over the Buckingham Palace courtyard like a fading echo of the crowd's earlier laughter. Michael's steely command and the officer's swift response had transformed a reckless prank into a public lesson, leaving Emma, 19, grappling with the consequences behind her camera. Her impulsive caption, "He finally cracked LOL," posted in the heat of the moment, now felt like a misstep as heavy as Jake's. The video, uploaded to their channel, spread like wildfire across TikTok and Reddit, but the reaction wasn't what Emma expected. The digital world, far from laughing, began to dissect the encounter, turning the narrative on its head in a way that would redefine their story. Within hours, the online tide shifted. Comments flooded in, not mocking Michael but praising his composure. "That wasn't a snap," one TikTok user wrote. "That was discipline in action." Another on Reddit called his response, "like a warrior's, cold and precise." The logic was clear. Michael's measured words and single step forward weren't a loss of control but a masterclass in authority, a stark contrast to Jake's chaotic bid for attention. Social media users saw through the prank's veneer, recognizing the guard's restraint as a form of power that didn't need shouts or fists to command respect. The crowd's phones, which had captured the moment, now fueled a global conversation, with thousands sharing clips and analyses of Michael's calm strength. Emma, scrolling through the comments, felt her perspective shift. Her caption had misjudged Michael, framing him as a statue that broke when, in truth, he was the only one who stood firm. The online discourse dissected this, with users arguing that Jake's antics, while bold, paled against the guard's unwavering duty. "He didn't need to yell," one post read, "because his authority was real." The viral clip, meant to be a joke, became a testament to discipline, flipping Emma's narrative on its head. Overwhelmed by the backlash and her own guilt, she recorded a second video, her voice trembling with sincerity. "I was wrong," she admitted. Michael wasn't a statue. He was the strongest person there, showing us what true resolve looks like. This reversal wasn't just personal. It was cultural. The internet, often a crucible of fleeting trends, had latched onto something deeper, a respect for quiet power over loud spectacle. Emma's apology video gained traction, its views climbing as users lauded her humility. The story, once a prank gone wrong, now carried a weightier message. True strength lies in control, not chaos. As the comments poured in from New York to Tokyo, the world celebrated Michael's discipline, turning him into an unlikely hero. Emma, humbled, realized their misadventure had sparked a conversation far bigger than their channel, one that would linger long after the video's views plateaued. The digital storm sparked by Jake's ill-fated prank had swept across TikTok and Reddit, transforming Michael, the stoic 25-year-old guard, into an emblem of quiet strength. Emma's apology video, raw with humility, had shifted the narrative, earning praise for her accountability and cementing Michael's disciplined response as the heart of the story. As the online buzz hummed from New York to Tokyo, the real world at Buckingham Palace carried on, its rhythm unbroken. The incident, now a viral lesson in respect, faded from the cobblestones, but its impact lingered, setting the stage for a poignant final act that would underscore the true essence of duty. Under the golden glow of a new day's sun, Michael returned to his post, his red uniform crisp, his posture as unyielding as ever. The palace gates stood resolute, a backdrop to his silent vigil, as if the chaos of Jake's prank had never touched this sacred space. The sunlight glinted off his shoulder epaulets, casting a warm sheen that seemed to honor his steadfastness. Emma, now 19 and profoundly changed, watched from a distance, her phone no longer a tool for pranks, but a witness to something deeper. She saw in Michael a living testament to discipline, not just the absence of reaction, but the presence of purpose, a quality that transcended the fleeting noise of social media. The logic of this moment was profound. While Jake's stunt sought fleeting fame, Michael's quiet resolve embodied a timeless virtue. His return to duty wasn't a performance but a commitment, a stark contrast to the chaos that had briefly disrupted his post. The online world had lauded his restraint, but here, in the real world, his actions spoke louder. No fanfare, no applause, just the steady rhythm of a guard at work. Emma, moved by this, approached the palace fence, her hands trembling as she slipped a folded note through the bars. In neat handwriting it read, "Thank you for teaching us what discipline really looks like." The gesture was small, yet heavy with meaning, a quiet acknowledgement of the lesson she'd learned. The crowd around the palace, unaware of the note, moved on, their phones now capturing selfies and scenery. But Emma's act closed the chapter with a resonance that echoed the online discourse. Michael's discipline, unwavering under pressure, had not only rebuked Jake's recklessness, but inspired a global reflection on strength and duty. The note, fluttering lightly in the breeze, was Emma's final offering, a recognition that true power lies not in viral moments, but in the quiet resolve to stand firm. As Michael continued his watch, the sunlight framing him like a portrait, the story concluded not with laughter or chaos, but with a silent tribute to the enduring power of discipline, a lesson etched in both the real and digital worlds. Hey there, story lovers, welcome back to our channel, where every tale packs a punch. You've just witnessed the wild ride at Buckingham Palace, Jake's daring prank, Michael's unshakable discipline, and Emma's heartfelt redemption. It's a story that flipped from chaos to respect, and we're dying to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and tell us, where are you watching from? New York, London, or maybe halfway across the globe? What hit you hardest? Michael's steely resolve, Jake's bold misstep, or Emma's honest turnaround? Maybe you've got your own story of discipline shining through chaos. Share it with us. Your comments fuel our community, so let's keep this conversation buzzing. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and ring the bell for more epic stories. Tomorrow we're dropping another tale that'll keep you glued to your screen. Join us. Share your city, your take, and let's unpack this lesson in strength together. Who knows? Your comment might spark the next big discussion. Let's make this channel the place where stories live and lessons linger. Hit that comment section now and be part of it.